How are you, good people? This is the day that the Lord has done. He has made it for us, that we should be glad and rejoice in it. A day that He has been so good to us. This day that His mercies are new in our lives. You know what? His mercy never ceases. He never run out of mercies. He never get tired of being merciful to us, because the Bible says that He's slow to anger and He's rich in mercies. He is a good God. He is a great God. We thank the Lord this day, and it is an honor, it is a privilege to come to you this beautiful day, this special day that God has made for us, to speak to you about His word. The word that is sharper than two-edged sword, the word that He judges with the truth, the word that leads us to the kingdom salvation. It is an honor. It is a privilege. And this day, I'd like to speak to you about a message. A message that has been so challenging to us as Christians. It is a message that has been making us run up and down day in, day out. It is a message that today God is trying to giving us a solution. He's giving us a way out to our challenges. And this is a topic that talks about finance. And today I want to talk to you about the biblical financial stewardship. Biblical financial stewardship. And I like to let you know that we are all stewards, but not owners. We are all of us are stewards, not owners. But most of the times we think that we are owners of what we have. We own everything. We own what we have. But today I want to tell you that you don't own anything, my dear. You don't own anything. You're just a steward. You're just a steward of the things that God owns. And you find this day and time, financial advice comes from everywhere. And we can find plenty of books telling us how to earn more, how to invest, how to save better, everywhere. They're all over. Books are being sold in the bookstores. People are out there giving advices on how to earn money. There are advertisements that comes even to your phone day in, day out, telling you how to earn money online, how to get a job to earn good money, how to invest, how to save. There are lots, and they come from all over. They come from all corners. And we also get abundance of advice from those who tell us how to spend our money. It is called advising you. There are people who are financial advisors. Yeah, they earn from advising people on how to spend their finances, how to invest their finances, and they're all over. And there is also pressure to spend. Okay, this pressure to spend also comes from our peers. Because we want to have what our peers have, we want to spend how our peers spend. So that pressure also comes from our peers. So we realize that we get advices, financial advices from people, from books, from our peers. We want to live the way they live. We want to own what they own. But we Christians also, we are involved in religious, as Christians, we are involved in religious world of churches and ministry organizations. We also hear a lot of voices telling us where we should give our money, how we should give our money. As Christians in the church, we also get these voices, we also get these advices. We also want to do what people do, how to even give in church. We hear these voices, but the most persuasive financial advice we get is the voice in our heads. That is the most persuasive voice, or rather advice, that we get. And that is from our own head, because our idea about money usually boils down what I think is best for me. What is best for me financially? And selfishness hides in every financial decisions we make. There is selfishness in every financial decision we make. You find that I take a certain job because I think it's the best for me in my situation. And even the money we give away is usually selfishly motivated. The money we give to church, the money we give to the poor, the money we give for church projects, it is always motivated. It is always selfishly motivated. And I was asking myself, could it be that our view of money is all about me? It's all about self. Like how we view money, how I view money, how you view money. Is it all about me? Is it all about you? That is a question that I've been asking myself. And if there is another way of living, there must be another way of thinking. Because we've always been thinking of money. When we think about money, we think about us, self. Yeah, I'll get that money to satisfy my needs, to better my life, to grow my business. Selfish motivation. It is selfish motivated, and that is how, as human beings, we view money. That is the plain truth. And let's ask ourselves, how does God view money, or what does God think about money? Because most of the people think that God is not that interested in this subject of our money. That is what most people think, that He's not interested about this money stuff, this prosperity stuff. He's not so interested about it. But God obviously cares. He cares about our possession, about our money, and that is why He even talks to us about our possessions and about our money in His Word. And that is why in the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 21, He says, "Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." He says that because He cares about our treasures, and He cares about our heart, and He knows where our heart is where the treasures are. Jesus is saying that what we do with our money and our possession reveals our real priority. And God is talking to us about spiritual thermometer. Thermometer, a way to measure what is really going on in our hearts with God. And that is why you find somebody so spiritual and somebody so grateful when or rather somebody so prayerful when they don't have this money so that they can get it. And when they get it, they feel like it is mine, I can spend it the way I want, and they stop being prayerful. So let's look at the material things in the beginning. In the beginning, in the book of Genesis, the subject of money and material things began in the book of Genesis. Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. It says, "In the beginning, God created heavens and the earth." He created heaven and the earth. And we learn here as the Bible opens that God owns everything because He created everything. He created it all. That shows that he owns it all. David wrote in the book of Psalms 24 verse 1, chapter 24 verse 1 to 2, that the earth is the Lord's and everything in it, the world and all who lives in it, for he founded it upon the seas and established it upon the waters. Like everything on the earth belongs to the Lord, including you and me. We also belongs to the Lord. So if you belong to the Lord, what makes you think that what you own belongs to you? It also belongs to the Lord. And if God made it, he owns it. God made the whole world, so it's all his. And he then put man in it and gave him, and this man is Adam. He put man on the earth that he made, that he owns, and he gave Adam the first job. Because this is his company, and he made Adam, so he brings Adam into this company and he gives him the first job, his first job. So he made and created Garden of Eden. He created the world, he created the beauty of the earth, and he created Adam too. So he placed Adam in this earth that he created, and he gave him his first job. And he gave him his first job to rule over the animals and to tend the garden. As their salary, this is Adam and Eve, as their salary, they could eat of anything in the garden. Anything, except from one tree, of course. So he placed them in the garden. He gave them their first job. And as their salary, they could enjoy what God created. He told them, you can enjoy, you can eat anything except from one tree. The same way you get a job, you get employment, and there are rules. You can do this, you can do this, you can do this, and this you can't. So he created this beautiful garden and he placed Adam and Eve there, and he gave them their first job to take care. So it does not mean that this Garden of Eden belonged to Adam and Eve just because they were working there. No, it belongs to God who created the earth, and he created these two human beings, and he gave them the job there. And like Adam and Eve, we are also created by God. We have been given food by God. We have been given a place to live by God, and we belong to God along with everything we think we own. It's all God's stuff. All God's stuff. In Genesis chapter 3, verse 24, it says, but anything they had really must not have been theirs. We know that because when they sinned, they were driven from the garden and didn't take anything with them. The Bible is telling us for sure, everything they had in the Garden of Eden did not belong to them. Why? Because when they sinned, they were drove out of the Garden of Eden, and they did not take anything with them. Because if these stuffs belonged to them, if Adam said that, this tree belongs to me, when he was driven out of Eden, he would have carried his tree with him and left the garden. But since he did not own anything, he was just a steward. He was just taking care of somebody else's property. If you are a caretaker in somebody's plots, when you live, do you live with the keys, even the keys of the gate? You can't leave. You leave them because that one does not belong to you. So we know for sure that nothing belonged to them in the Garden of Eden. That is why when they sinned, they left the garden and they carried nothing with them. They lived in God's garden and enjoyed God's food. Gifts and everything else that belonged to God, they enjoyed. But it was all God's. Because of sin, they lost access to it all. They lost access to everything. If you have ever lost a job, or if you've ever gone bankrupt, or if you've ever come from up to down, you'll understand, or you should understand, that everything belongs to God. You should have learned from that. Because He created wealth and anything else He gives us. But if you cannot learn from that, you can learn from a funeral. All of us have attended a funeral. When somebody dies and is being buried, he does not carry anything with him. He does not carry money with him. He does not carry houses with him. He does not carry anything with him. He goes like that. So we're supposed to know that these stuffs do not belong to us. And when we leave, we do not take them with us. You can't take it with you, because it does not belong to you. You don't own it. And most of the time, people take possessions of things that do not belong to them. They brag about the things they have. They brag about the money they have. They brag about the investments they have, forgetting it is not theirs. It has an owner. You are just there to look after it. You know, Solomon, a wisest man ever said, naked a man comes from his mother's womb, and as he comes, so he departs. He takes nothing from his labor that he can carry in his hand. That is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 5, verse 15. This was a wise man and a very rich king. But he recognized the fact that all this wealth that I have, because he was the wealthiest king, that all these things that I have, all these things that I'm taking care of, all these things that I'm laboring for, do not belong to me. And naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. And I will not carry anything. And that is what I'm telling you today. That nothing you are clinging onto, nothing you're holding so tight, nothing you're spending a lot of time to protect, and you forget even to seek the word of God. You forget even to seek advice from the person who gave you that thing to take care of. Does not belong to you. When you depart, you will not carry it with you. You will not carry it with you. Because Solomon has just confirmed. And the Apostle Paul concurs with Solomon and says that, for we brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out of it. He says that in 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 7. You brought nothing with you. That thing that you're clinging on so much, saying that this is mine, this is my property, this is my money. You did not bring it on earth. You did not bring it in this world. And you cannot take it with you, imagine. You cannot. You just leave it. Job, at his lowest point, worshipfully agreed, saying, naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gives, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised. How many of us, when we lose things that God has given us to take care of, when God has given you wealth to take care of it, and He decides to take it, how many of you will remain and worship the Lord and tell the Lord, God, you gave me this wealth and now you've taken it. I praise your name. I give you glory. I praise your mighty name. How many of us? How many of us, when you lose a job, you will go on your knees and praise the Lord and worship the Lord at the top of your voice, telling God, thank you because you gave me that job and you've taken it? How many? Few. Because we do not recognize the fact that all these things belongs to God. It does not belong to us. Even your parents, even your children, even your brothers and sisters, the people you love, they do not belong to you. And that is why in the funeral, we are supposed to be appreciating God, because God, you gave us these beloved ones, and now you've decided to take him. We praise your name. You're supposed to be giving thanks when you lose stuffs. We only say thank you when you gain. We only tell God, thank you for giving me food. Thank you for giving me a stable job. God, thank you for giving me investments. God, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. But we don't say thank you, Lord, because you've taken away my job. Thank you because I've lost this job. Thank you because I've gone to bed empty stomach. Thank you. You don't say thank you because of that. But today I come to tell you that it does not belong to you. You ought to appreciate God, because you came with nothing and you'll depart with nothing. Job, he said this when he lost everything. He was very rich, but when he lost everything, including his children, he lost all his wealth. And he maintained the praise in his heart, and he said, naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be glorified. How many of us can do that at your lowest? But instead we just complain. Oh God, why me? Why have you left me? Why have you turned your back on me? That is the best we do. But today, let's change our way of handling God's stuffs. When we lose them, appreciate God because he has taken what he has given you to look after. So what is steward? What is a steward? A steward is a person who manages property of others. A steward is a person who manages somebody else's property. And now that we've seen all these things belong to God, we are stewards because we are managing properties of God. We are managing God's properties, and that makes us stewards. If you are a mother, you are steward over your children. They are God's. So he has just entrusted you with them so that you can manage them. If you think you're the richest man, if you think you have everything, those things are not yours. God has just given you to be a manager over them. A good example of a steward in the Bible is this young man called Joseph. Joseph, who was sold with his brothers to the Egyptians as a slave. This young man became a very good example of a steward, because Joseph, in the book of Genesis, chapter 39, verse 4 to 6, Joseph did not own anything in Egypt. In fact, he was a slave of Potiphar. So he did not own anything. You can imagine slaves. Do slaves own anything? They don't. So Joseph was a slave to Potiphar in Egypt, but he did not keep Potiphar. It did not keep Potiphar from entrusting him with his property. You realize that Potiphar entrusted Joseph. He made him a manager over his possessions. Joseph managed Potiphar's possessions. And as a manager, Joseph was not able to, as a manager, Joseph was able to eat the finest food in the house of Potiphar. He was able to wear the best clothes on himself because he was managing the best things. And that is why we are able to drive good cars. We are able to eat good food. We are able to wear fine clothes because we are managing the things of a wealthy person, a person who owns everything, because the Bible says all the wealth and riches belongs to him. Potiphar was a very rich person in Egypt. So when Joseph was managing his property, he was able to eat good food. He was able to wear good clothes. He was able to live good because he was managing the property of a wealthy man. And that is exactly how we are. So Joseph could not take, now that he was managing all this stuff, he could not take it all and say, these ones belong to me. Because I eat good, it's mine. Because I clothe well, it's mine. No, he was still a manager. So because we experience good life, because we have abundance, because we drive good cars, we live in good houses, we eat good food, it does not mean it's ours. No. It means we're just taking care of stuffs belonging to a rich person who owns all wealth and riches. All treasures belongs to him. And that is why we can enjoy. So a steward often can enjoy the things they manage. That is why we enjoy the things we manage. We enjoy the good houses, we enjoy the good cars, we enjoy good food, we enjoy brilliant kids, So as a steward, you can enjoy the things that you manage. Joseph gives us a model of what it means financially to be a steward of God. To be a steward of material things that belongs to God. And the steward's real job is faithfulness. Steward's real job is being faithful. Faithfulness is the real job of a steward. And God has clearly instructed a steward in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 2. Now it says, now it is required that those who have been given a trust must be faithful. If you are given whatever you have, you must be faithful with it. You must be honest with it. So that is the greatest instruction that God has given us. Now we've been given all these things to manage. And we've read in the book that we are supposed to give back to the owner a certain portion of the things that we are managing. Like for example, we are supposed to give 10%. We are supposed to give offering. We are supposed to give sacrifices. And according to us, we think that those are the only things that belongs to God. And that is why we give them back to him. But today, I want to ask us, think for a moment. What about the things we don't give? How can we be stewards of the things we don't give? Because if you're earning a salary of 10,000, you give a tithe of 1,000, and you feel like 9,000 belongs to you. But today I want to tell you that even that 9,000 does not belong to you. It belongs to the owner. And that's why we are talking about stewardship of the money we don't give. We don't give it to church, just the way we've been instructed. We don't offer offerings, we don't give sacrifices, because we feel like those that we give are the only things that God owns. God also owns money we don't give. Because at the beginning, we've seen that we've seen that we don't own anything. That we are only stewards and not owners of any money or possessions. If God owns everything, then we declare our agreements with God that we are stewards by giving back. By giving back to God as a regular percent that we've been speaking about. So what about what is left? Isn't that God's as well? It also belongs to God. It also belongs to God. And if we are stewards, we get to choose how to use it. But still, it belongs to God. We choose how to use it. But still, it belongs to God. In the book of Psalms 50:10, it says, "For every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle on 1,000 hills. And although human beings claims ownership over livestock, God is saying that He has the prior ownership. He owns them all. And we are managing God's cattle, whether we acknowledge it or not. We are just managing. And we only grasp ownership if we realize that our money must be under God's control. Our money must be under God's control. And that is actually the path to financial freedom. If you let your money be controlled with the owner, you as a steward, you let your money be controlled by the owner, that will be the only path to financial freedom. Because at this age and time, we are not financially free. And that is why we go through a lot of things. We do stuffs to get money. Or we get money and it is never enough. We get money but we're still in debts. We get salaries but it does not meet our needs. It does not help us because we don't allow God to control this money. And if we allow God to control the money, that will be the path of financial freedom. If we consider all of our money to be under God's control, then we can find help in every decision about material things. He will give us help. He will help us on how to handle, how to spend, how to save, how to do anything with this money that He has given us to take care of. Because God is not only our owner of possession, He is also our advisor about how to manage it all. He is our advisor. Because the owner of something will advise you on how to manage it. Because this study addresses all those other places our money goes to. Our savings, our spending, our investment, debt repayment. It addresses all that. And our challenge today is that we don't want to put our money out on the table before God and seek His wisdom. That is where our challenge begins. And that is why we are having a lot of problems. Even that person who owns even that person who is who's been given a lot of money to be a steward over is still not content. He's still not satisfied. He still wants more. He still wants more because his needs are not met with whatever he's taking care of. That is because we don't want to put it in the table and ask God. We don't want to bring this money before God and ask God for his wisdom on how to spend. Because you always seek advice from the owner on how to make use of it. There is a woman in the Bible who is a very good example of a steward. If we read in the book of Proverbs chapter 31, Proverbs chapter 31 from verse 10. For Proverbs 31 from verse 10, if you read 10 to 12, it says, "Who can find a virtuous wife? For her worth is far above rubies. The heart of her husband safely trusts her, so he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not evil all the days of her life." There is characters of this woman. This woman displays a true characteristic of a true steward. And there is two characteristics that we learn from this woman from chapter 10 to chapter 19. And these characters are two. This woman works hard and this woman spends wisely. This woman works hard and this woman spends wisely. Chapter 13 shows that she works hard because it says she seeks wool and flax and willingly works with her own hands. Willingly works with her own hands. That shows that she is a hardworking woman. 14 shows that she spends wisely. She is like a merchant ships. She brings her food from afar. She is wise from where she's bringing her food from. It is wise. Chapter 15 shows that she works hard. She also rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household and a portion for her maid servants. She works hard because she wakes up very morning to go and provide food for her family. Chapter 16 shows that she spends wisely because it says she considers a field and buys it. From her profit she plants a vineyard. It shows that she spends wisely. She spends in investments. Verse 17 shows that she works hard. She guards herself with strength and strengthens her arms. She strengthens her arms. She guards herself with the strength, and she strengthens her arms to work hard. It shows that she works hard. 18 shows that she spends wisely. She perceives that her merchandise is good and her lamp does not go out by night. She spends wisely. 19, she works hard. She stretches out her hands to the distaff and her hand holds the spindle. That shows that she works hard. This is a woman who is a true example of a steward. She works hard on the things that God has given her to manage, and she spends wisely the things that God has given her. She works hard and she spends wisely. In Proverbs chapter 31, if you read chapter 20 and 21, give us also another characteristic of a good steward. It says she extends her hands to the poor. Yes, she reaches out her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of snow for all her household is clothed with scarlet. As a result of her hard work and wise spending, she is truly wise steward in two additional ways. One, extend her hands to the needy. She gives freely. And when she is not afraid of snow because she planned ahead. She planned ahead and provided for her household clothes with scarlet. She plans ahead. So these are two more additional characteristics. Apart from working hard and spending wisely, there is she gives freely and she plans ahead. And a good cash flow depends on hard work. First of all, you won't have any money. You won't have any money or stuff or even food of which to be a steward unless you work hard. By working hard, this woman minimized her expenses, making some things even with her own hands that she will not need to go to the market and buy. Whatever she can make for herself, she makes it to avoid spending more on buying the thing that she can make it with her hand. She was also wise about spending and investing. She looked for ways to make her money grow. She did not earn and eat it all. She looks for ways to make her money grow. So apart from working hard and spending wisely, she looks for ways for her money to grow. And finally, we learn from her that when you work hard, spend wisely, and plan ahead, there is money to give generously. There is money to give generously. Frankly, the reason why we often feel we cannot give is because we have not been faithful stewards by working hard and spending wisely. So for you to be a faithful steward, you have to work hard. If God has given you that land to steward it, work hard on that land. Spend wisely what you get from that land. And when you work hard and spend wisely, you'll have more even to give freely, and you will plan ahead. So today, God is speaking to us in these days about our financial steward. We need to ask Him which of these areas to address. Because at this age and time, financial problems are taking people to the graves. People are dying. People are committing suicide because of poverty. And it's not that God has not given us things to do. Even those people who've been given good jobs are still crying, are still struggling. But today, I would like you to realize that you are a steward over what God has given you. So be faithful to what God has given you. By working hard, by spending wisely. If you work hard and spend wisely, you'll plan ahead and you'll also give. Knowing that all these things belongs to God. You don't own anything. You don't own anything. It all belongs to God. So let us change our attitude today and know that God really cares about our possessions. God really cares about our money. God cares about everything that we have. And you should know that He is the King of Kings. He is the Lord of Lords. He owns everything. All silver and gold belong to them. All wealth and riches belongs to Him. And He has given you it all. It is just for you to be faithful. Be faithful and be wise, just like this woman. Ask God, put it on the table and ask God to help you with His wisdom on how to be faithful, on how to work hard, on how to spend wisely. And may God see you through all this process. May God see you through all this process. Until next time, we will continue with the same topic of stewardship. And I pray that God is going to open up our eyes. He's going to unveil the curtains of our understanding, and we are going to change our way of living. And when you work hard, you spend wisely, you'll plan ahead. And when you have knowledge to do something, do it. Don't go to the market to buy it. Do it. Save that money that you would have gone out there to buy it. Save it. And plan ahead. And you'll have something even to give freely. And God will continue blessing you abundantly. because God does not like lazy people. God bless you. Until next time.